What's up, everybody? I'm David Hain. Welcome to episode 67 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you would like one-on-one counseling, or to launch or join a group using the podcasts or the From Ashes to Destiny curriculum, please send me a message by email at davidfromatod@gmail.com or go to my website www.fromatod.org and click on the contact page. When we come back, we'll get into this episode entitled Anger Addiction, Not Anger Management. Welcome back to episode 67 of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast entitled Anger Addiction, Not Anger Management. Many addicts in treatment and in recovery struggle with anger issues and are often urged to, or even court stipulated, to attend anger management classes. But my question for this episode: what if you're addicted to anger? Okay, some of you are thinking, addicted to anger? What do you mean, David? Well, people can be addicted to anger. Think about first, when we get angry, our brain releases endorphins, which can feel like the adrenaline rush that thrill seekers feel. And when endorphins are released, they block or minimize the feeling of pain, similar to the way opioids work. So, expressing anger can feel the same to our brain as taking an opioid to numb our pain. Wow. And a sign of anger addiction can be the use of physical violence or threats to exert power over someone. It's true that when we express anger, it can be empowering to us, which can be therapeutic. But when it's a habitual characteristic of how we relate to others, it's not healthy. Think about whether you use anger to manipulate or dominate a friend. Perhaps it is a tool you use to keep someone in a submissive role in your relationship. Can you see that is unhealthy? Some of you may be thinking, well, I would never hit or hurt someone physically. So let me ask you, do you often find yourself yelling or screaming at someone? If so, is the purpose of your yelling to be in control? How do you feel if they react by saying, "Why are you so upset? This isn't even a big deal"? Does your anger escalate when they say that? And the level of your shouting rise in reaction? You see, you may be using your anger to manipulate others. Let me give you a classic example. I like to tell the one of an alcoholic who intentionally starts an argument with his wife so he can slam the door as he goes out on a drinking binge. He knows his wife won't wait up for him. She's just going to go to bed and lock the door and turn off the lights. She won't stay awake and try to check up on him to see if he's okay. She won't call him. And she won't ask where he's been whenever he gets home. He can just come in whenever he wants, curl up on the couch, and by morning, no one will have the nerve to even talk about it. Can you see the manipulation in that? The manipulative use of anger to get submission and control over another one. We can also use our anger to get people to just shut up and stop asking us questions. Blame shifting is a key example in this. We can even use blame shifting to make us feel less guilty when we know that we're the ones to blame for what's going on anyway. We just know if we put the other person on the defensive, then we can control the conversation. You see, blame shifting is an emotionally abusive behavior or tactic and can be a sign of your anger addiction. If you've been thinking, wow, that sounds a lot like me or someone I know, then take this as a sign that it is time for change. Mark Twain once said, "Anger is an acid that can do more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to anything on which it is poured." Can you hear that? Yes, we wound others when we pour our anger out on them. But the anger addiction is the poison that we keep inside of us, and it does more harm to us. So we need to find the root of the wound inside of us that resulted in our addiction to anger. The most common roots of anger addiction tend to be fear or pain. That's why the release of endorphins feels so comforting in numbing our pain. And Deepak Chopra warned, and I quote, "If you try to get rid of fear and anger without knowing their meaning, they will grow stronger and return." Let me repeat that. If you try to get rid of fear and anger without knowing their meaning, they will grow stronger and return. This is why this episode is entitled Anger Addiction, not Anger Management. This is not about learning how to repress our anger or develop coping skills. It's all about finding freedom from our addiction to anger as our comforter. Yes, our anger addiction can be another one of those counterfeit comforters, which gives us the ability to numb our pain, but comes with such horrific consequences to ourselves and to others around us. So we need to begin to work at the root causes of our anger. And as we work on the root causes of our anger, we end up reducing the need for anger as our pain reliever. We begin to understand how we have lived in a fight or flight mode in many of our relationships. And I know the fight or flight mode is a classic model. But think about it. If you're addicted to anger, you couple the two together. You start the fight to plan your flight, to get off and engage in whatever other behavior you want to do to be in control. It's so important to realize that from a place of inner healing, we can begin to build appropriate interactions and reactions to our situations and circumstances. Now we can begin to learn how to problem solve in a positive and constructive way. We can actually, for the first time, begin to talk calmly with others about things that trigger our anger before we explode in a yelling outburst. We can begin to practice other activities that release endorphins to numb that pain which is triggering our anger. Some of these other things that are common that release endorphins are exercise or watching a movie, laughing, putting yourself in situations where you just have to laugh, or listening to music, which is just soothing to your soul. In closing, if you are addicted to anger, or if this episode is getting you to wonder if you are, remember that anger is like a prison. And I hope today in this episode, you have found the hope and the courage today to unlock your anger prison door. The key to that door is to seek to know what lies beneath your anger. Thanks for listening to this episode of the A to D from Addict to Disciple podcast. If you enjoy these podcasts, please share the link with your friends. If you would like to support our work with people caught in the snare of addiction, homelessness, or incarceration anywhere around the world, please click on the support link in this episode's description. Your donation of any amount could change a life. Tune in Monday for our next episode. And as always, stay safe and stay strong.